Welcome everybody to the Dad's Doomsday Guide.
Is it recorded too?
Yes, it's going to be recorded on YouTube, so I don't have to worry.
No
about
one consented. That's fucking horseshit.
Oh no, it's not recorded on.
I'm in California.
I hope it's recorded on YouTube. So what's
I'm
new?
pretty sure
It has to be. It has to be.
It's been a while since we've done one of these. That what? Maybe a year? Close to it.
It's been a minute.
It's good feedback, guy. So
it's been a minute.
So getting into it, what's new? I guess we should address right away, besides Tim being on an old phone, is what the hell is behind you, Darius? Where are you?
I'm in some curtains. I'm in a dark room. I've done some things, and I have to stay in a hotel room. And I'm in Palm Springs.
Is it a court case?
Got to catch a case, right? I'm pretty sure I heard a song tell me to do that at some point.
Yeah. So you're doing a 100-mile bike ride tomorrow?
That's right. 100 miles. I guarantee you I am the largest man doing this race by far. I looked like I was walking around with kids down in the main area because everyone's so small, and I am so large.
What's the average size of a bicyclist?
The third kind when all the aliens came out?
Basically, dude. Like it's the beauty is I can see all the way down the road because there's no one. Like,
so it's just straight flat, just straight riding, or is there hills?
No, it's a little incline, but nothing crazy.
Nice.
For a strong man like myself.
Are you gonna listen to music, or are you just gonna go straight wind in the ears? And
that's a good question. So the first century that I did when I was trying to bike to Phoenix, I was just talking to my friends at dinner. I had Amelia's music stuck in my head, which was My Little Pony.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if a stupid song is stuck in my head, I will probably put something on, like some System of a Down or some shit. But I'm riding with two 6-year-old Colombian, like a married couple. That's part of my racing group usually.
You say drug dealers? What? Group. Colombian drug dealers?
Used to be.
Yeah. Can we cut through the bullshit? Oh, there's drug dealers, right? You guys are running drugs. You're a 100-mile ride.
Why do you think I'm in a hotel, right? So yeah. Speaking of drugs, so can I?
Yes,
can
I have a
I
story too.
pivot?
Go ahead. You do yours.
Go ahead.
First.
No, you first.
No,
are you sure?
Okay, so I was getting a haircut today at this place where I live, and there's two barbershops. A couple years ago, I went to one that somebody recommended I go to, and I went there, and it was really weird. And the owner of the place was like super hyper, but he knew some people that I knew, and it was just he was older, and he was talking about his yacht, and he had obviously money and two shops, one near this other place where there was a college campus. And anyway, it was really weird though. And then I didn't like the vibe in there. And I went there 2 more times and I'm like, this is odd. Like everybody was kind of pissed off and angry. And then he would kind of talk down to people. It was really weird. So I just went to the place a block down, which ended up being better. And all the barbers had moved over there. So like the third time I went to that first barbershop, all the barbers were gone. There was like one guy. And I'm like, where'd everybody go? And they're like, oh, they quit. And they went over to this other barbershop. Long story short, they ended up, one of the barbers bought that new place, and it's really good. I've been going there for a couple years now. So one of the barbers there today, because I finally got a haircut, told me that that owner used to go in the back and snort coke and stuff in between haircuts. That's why he was so hyper when I talked to him sometimes. Like, what are you on right now? Like, you wouldn't shut up. Like, I just want to relax. You know, you kind of fall asleep when you get a haircut sometimes. It's like, I just want to. It wouldn't happen with him. Constant, nonstop. And his dog was always, I don't know. It was really strange. So then he started filling me. And then he almost fought 2 of the barbers in the middle of the street. And this area is very nice. And it was chaos. So I don't know.
That seems like a lot of drama for a barbershop.
It is. And it's still open, though. I don't know who goes
Isn't there a show? It wasn't there a movie called Barbershop?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
There's a lot of drama in that movie. Just saying.
I think barbershops just attract drama.
Maybe not cocaine in the back, but that's not the place. It's like he was angry. He used to be a bouncer somewhere. He used to be some nightclub manager.
No, he wasn't a big guy at all. It was very strange, though. Very strange. Anyway, long story short is back to your Colombian bike riding drug dealers.
All accurate. So, pivoting quickly to guns, right?
Oh yeah, you did gun class, huh?
So I did my gun class, right? And the first day was a Zoom training. It was 6 hours long, right? And it was like, just like basically what I really like about this class, and I may have texted you guys this, but like we didn't talk about guns for like 4.5, 5 hours. It was all about avoidance of using guns, like how to create a safe place in your home, how to harden your home so criminals aren't interested, da 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 da. And so anyway, there's a guy on there that's just acting really weird. And he's like, he fell asleep. He was like on the couch. He wouldn't sit still. He was all fidgety and shit. And around 4.5 hours, mind you, this is a class put on by 20 plus year veteran SWAT LAPD guys, right? And he takes out a pipe and starts smoking out of the pipe. On Zoom.
Not a crack pipe, like a normal pipe.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't actually know the difference, Scott. I don't know what you're into, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I know a piece.
Was like a glass pipe?
Yeah, I think it was glass. I'm not real sure, but
wow.
It was. But so he started doing. I think it was. But someone like I was told the next day it was ayahuasca. Maybe I don't know if that's the right utensil for it. But anyway, so he's token or whatever the fuck he was doing, and then he got kicked out of the class. And they're like, yeah, by the way, we're all LAPD. Like, please don't come tomorrow. And he didn't. But it was just so crazy that, like, people kind of forget. We've been on Zoom for, 2.5 years now?
Yeah.
Don't say the N-word. Don't do drugs live. Those are the two things.
Don't jerk off either. Remember the news guy who got caught jerking off?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Did he get caught red-handed?
He was on CNN.
He thought the camera was off, the camera was on, and he went to town on himself.
Ew.
It's go time. It was like right before a meeting, so everybody was logged in. I'm like, why? Like, right then and there. That was the
what was funny, they had him back on. And he was like sitting there. It's like I don't think they even addressed it, obviously. So have you rehabbed this?
I'm going to be doing some Googling later. So
yeah, I forget the guy's name, but it was pretty.
I don't remember.
It was pretty like I don't know if you can even see the video. I don't know if that exists, but that'd be pretty funny too.
I'm into some dark web shit. We'll find it. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Like the motorcycle crash you sent us, that was like Jesus Christ.
Oh, I gotta send that to Kelsey. Yeah, you're right.
Dude, that was
connected.
Nuts.
I'm well connected.
Remember the motorcycle crash you sent us? The one where the intersection cam catches the dude running from the LAPD. It was LA, right? And he hits the car.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much those guys, you're spaghettified when you hit at a high speed like that. And then I know Dad used to say that about the clothes would blow off.
Is spaghettified a word? Spaghettified?
I think I'm going to go with yes.
You hit anything going that fast, you're spaghettified.
Yeah, but I went slow motion. I scrubbed through it in slow. And dude, his clothes like vaporized. They're like,
yeah,
and it's like almost a weird blur effect off his body. Dude, it's like,
yeah, crazy. You don't even know where they go. You're like, where'd they go?
Not to get too graphic, but I'm going to. But if you could like a high speed camera and you had that on, and you could like really in fine detail see what exactly the body, like how it breaks. Like, I mean, instant like mush inside of his body, going from a hard 100 miles an hour to a stop like that. Dude, that was like wild.
Because mush. Yeah, and because you got to remember the physics of it, it's and this is really going to put everyone to sleep, but it's not linear. So your kinetic energy when you go from like a crazy fast, it's v squared. So if your speed is 100, it's 100 squared to 0 squared. That is a huge difference. So,
both of us are like.
So your cells explode.
So what kind of force? Do you know like how to put it into like, I don't know, some kind of layman's terms about what that would be in terms of what you could compare it to, like those really smart physicists on TV who say, hey, so quantum this is like this in your kitchen. Can you do that with like the force that's happening inside the body when you come to a stop like that? Like what would it be equivalent to or something someone could visualize?
No.
Like take a grapefruit and fucking smash it on the ground.
So speaking of motorcycles, I went to get a haircut. First time I've ridden in a long time. So nice.
Thanks.
Are you ever afraid of it getting stolen?
No, because it's in my garage.
No, but like when you go get your haircut, I mean.
And Tim lives at such and such address. I'm just kidding.
No,
Shit.
I would be more fearful of like a mountain bike getting stolen because those are easy to take.
Yeah.
You know, or like a real that's more.
I want to shift gears here really fast
Because they
because
sell bikes like crazy.
I love your motorcycle story. It sounds really fun, but I guess
It was very nice. So I bought this new jacket. It's so comfy. It's like it's not leather. I hate leather.
But don't drive fast and crash because then that jacket will disappear.
How this jacket's anti-vaporized, spaghettified, mush.
Dude, don't you worry about that though? Riding, like, does it just pop in your head a little bit?
Nope.
Like, what if someone slams into me? What's going to happen to my body?
Nope.
Not at all.
Nope.
Dude,
I don't care. I like it, so I don't care.
Dude, I just got to alert Bitcoin's like tanking, I think.
Because you do that with cars, like same when you drive a car. I mean, it's crazy.
Dude, you got a bunch of metal around you when you're driving a car. What are you talking about?
It's true, but it's so crazy when you think about it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think motorcycles are super fun and really exciting to ride, and I really love them. The times that I've ridden, a few times that I've ridden, but I just couldn't get into riding and then having to thought like kids at home and stuff, and then like getting tagged by a vehicle and just getting really fucked up. And I'm not really into that thought. You know, I mean, even if you survive, dude, even if you survive, the amount of injury you're going to have, broken bones, road rash or whatever. Skin grafts, dude.
But you could do that with anything that's kind of fun to do. You're gonna be like, I can't do this because of this. I'm not gonna live like that. I won't.
No, but don't you think about it though? Like, I'm sure you think about it.
Not really.
How fast do you end up going when you're riding? Like, I mean, are you cruising 80, 90 on the freeway? Dead air.
So last thing. So yes, I really don't ride it that much anymore. Because it is too much fun. And there was this Mustang that was at a stoplight that goes up this hill, right? You know where Ignacio is.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be all like, I'm cool. I can look how fast I can go. Just like that. Like his little personalized plate, that crap. And he tried to gun it. And I'm like, okay. So I got up to about 125.
Today?
Yeah. And I just like left him like just bing. Obviously, it's a different vehicle. I mean, a car versus you're never going to beat, a motorcycle. But that was fun. Crazy.
I like how it's frozen.
But fun.
Yeah, like this. Like, it was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't do that though.
You could do that if you rode.
No, I know it's fun. I know I could
because it wants to do that. The motorcycle wants to go that fast, so it doesn't feel like you're going that fast. That's the problem.
Yeah. So pivoting really fast, awesome conversation. I wanted to tell Darius a story because I told Tim it a while ago since we were all sharing stories in the beginning and it felt very nice, but I wanted to get in on that action too. And
Darius, have you ridden a motorcycle or no?
Too fat. Next question.
You've never ridden one?
Listen, there's about a 7 things a fat man shouldn't do. And that is without question one of them.
I've seen some really heavy dudes on a bike, man, ripping it.
Ripping ass, you mean? Like,
sorry.
I told Tim this a while ago actually, and because we've been covering a lot of paranormal stuff, and I didn't tell you this one though, Darius. And I was in the saunas, man. I have like some very deep conversations, a lot of political conversations with guys in the sauna, 24-hour fitness. So it's co-ed, man. We all got clothes on. Don't get your mind running down the wrong path here. And this guy's in there, and he's a really nice guy. And it was when they were talking to me about
fucking bullshit.
This is the weirdest thing when you think about co-ed saunas.
Like, if you got to lead with co-ed, you're so full of shit.
There's the one I go to. There's no. It's all it's like there's women have their own sauna and guys do. There's no adjoined sauna.
I was just saying it to let you know that there were clothes on everyone. Nobody was naked, so it wasn't like, hey, bro.
Wait, because it's co-ed, you have to have clothes. Anyway, back to your story.
Well, yeah, it's 24-hour fitness, so it's like they're not going to have a bunch of nudies running around.
It's still kind of weird that they don't have their separate saunas.
Well, it's cheap. Anyway,
guys in there. Saunas though, they're huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice for me. It's cheap, and I can go there and do my thing, and that's it. But there's this guy in there. He's a really nice guy. And we were talking one day, and we were talking about paranormal stuff and like demonic stuff because I was letting him know about some past Exorcist interview that I've done and whatever. And this guy's in there, and he's like, previously he was telling us that he saw the devil once. And I was like, and he's like a super normal guy, and he brings his kid in there sometimes. And he's like, yeah, when I was real little, like 3 or 4, I was in church. And we were watching a movie, and all of a sudden I turned around and like the classic Satan-looking thing, horns on the head, but his upper body was human, lower half was like a horse or something. I don't know what you call those things. And it started
Centaur?
running down. Huh?
Centaur?
Centaur. And he
Nice
started
job. Yes.
I like this. He's our mythology expert now.
Good job.
He running down the aisle and it jumped into the movie screen. And we were all kind of looking at him like, that's really weird. There's probably something, wrong with you. Like, he's like, no, I swear to God, I saw it. Haven't seen it since. Okay, cool. Fast forward like a week or two. And he's telling us this other story. What was it about? Oh, I think it was about snake bites. And we were talking about what's the proper way to deal with a snake bite. And he's like, yeah, I had a buddy of mine who got bit and I just sucked out the venom. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're not supposed to suck out the venom anymore. Like, that's like not good for you. You can use like different things and they have like a whole new way of treating it now. He's like, oh, really? Well, it's probably because when I used to go hunting with my uncles and my family, that they had me drink animal blood. We were like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, so I kind of don't get sick much or anything. I was like, wait, hold on, back up. So like you would go hunt and then you like kill something and then they'd have you drink the blood. He's like, oh yeah, yeah. And then he kind of looked at us and we were looking at him, and I was like, I had to say it. I was like, dude, that's probably why you saw the devil. I'm like, you're
For
doing
sure.
some really dark shit.
He's getting high off venom and drinking animal blood.
But for what it's worth though, is that I'm finding a weird, and through our conversations that we haven't posted some of these interviews yet, some weird correlations to where people do explain, whether it's true or not true, weird things happening or weird things being done to them in terms of like rituals or like darker, quote unquote, like witchcraft or something. And then they say they see these things. Now, whether that's, something that their parents are putting into their head, like, hey, this stuff exists and this is what you see. And so they have these visions later. I don't know, but you see some weird correlations with that stuff. And I'm just kind of like, to me, I wouldn't mess with it. I wouldn't drink animal blood. I'm just saying.
So after he said the animal blood, did you put your towel back on in the sauna, or did you stay exposed? I'm just trying to understand how you back away from that scenario when someone literally looks you in the eye.
I cracked the joke. It was a true statement, but it was like in a joking way. It was like, oh, that's probably why you saw the devil. And everybody's like, yeah. And then he's kind of like, dude, yeah, probably. And then it was like, divert.
Oh, that's good. I didn't realize you said that to him.
Oh no, I said that out loud. Yeah, because like most of these dudes in there, I've seen now for like probably a good year since they started opening it back up. No, not a year because they had it closed, but however long since they opened it up after COVID. So like you have pretty, it's kind of like a barbershop talk or locker room talk. You start just BSing because majority dudes.
But it gets very uncomfortable in there because it gets so hot. So then I don't even want to talk.
When people start running their mouth,
which is so ironic because when you're in like a really hot state, most of the time people don't want to talk.
I don't want to talk.
I don't want to talk.
No, I was like, shut up. I just want to sweat and focus.
No, you got to talk in a sauna because it makes the time go by faster. So people are trying to stay in there for a certain amount of time and they'll start just yapping away.
I'll talk.
I've got a family, dude. I want to take as much time as possible.
Dude, I've seen a couple borderline fights in saunas too. And I was like, why? This is the last place you want to fight. You got a fucking heating unit that's probably like 200 degrees behind you and you're all sweating and slippery. Like,
why do they want to fight in a sauna? That's weird.
It was weird. It was like an old 24 up in the Bay Area. And this guy had gotten his tires slashed because he was rude to one of the employees. So then guys who knew her came and slashed his dude tires, and they happened to be all in the sauna at the same time. And he was just like, yeah, we did it, motherfucker, going off. And he was stepping up to him. He was stepping up. It was like going to be a brawl. And everybody's like, hey, everybody had to stand up and like break him apart. And everybody's hot and sweaty. And this thing wasn't big. It was like a box. It wasn't very big at all. So it would have been like, you're
break him apart. I'd watch him. Like, go ahead, do it.
No, it's too close to me. Like, it's just like, I don't want you on top of me. Imagine how crazy.
Usually you don't mind.
Yeah.
You just do it in my lap, guys. Come on. Can you bring that fight closer to me, please?
Just hug him.
Bring it over here.
Hey, guys. And then, like, you should hug them as they're fighting. Like, yes.
Yeah, you're just trying to get in there every time. They're like, hey, guys, come here.
No, do it again. Get back in there.
Oh, that's a good move. Come here. No, you'd probably be arrested. They probably both turn on you and beat your ass, but
you'd like it. You'd like it.
You unite the whole argument really fast.
Yeah, they start fighting. You just throw your towel up in the air and jump in, like, woo!
Finally.
I want to feel again.
Fight in the sauna. Yeah.
Has everyone left just out of curiosity?
No, people come and go, More people will watch this on a on like it'll record and people will watch it
On a restream?
on a rerun or whatever. Like it's recorded, whatever I'm saying anymore. I don't even know. Friday night, people are out partying, getting the relations going with whoever they want. So
The
unlike
clap?
us being parents and we're at home.
Yeah, I'm so tired.
Or in
I'm so
a
tired.
hotel with a dead hooker.
Well, yeah, you're just that's why you don't have the camera pointing toward the bed. We all understand, so it's not a big deal.
I'm doing a
right.
I'm really
So-
doing.
I want to move on to COVID because that's been a thought. We've been texting about it like a ton.
Yeah.
We've
Well,
had for everybody
yes.
listening.
Yes. God damn it.
Oh shit! Is that Fauci calling you?
Tony!
I have them under the table.
Tony, we got to talk about it, bro. For everybody
didn't sound
who
right.
listens to us normally, and we've had a ton of arguments and debates and discussions over text, and we just never seem to get on this YouTube or anything to like actually record it. But recently, there's been more data coming out, and I know Darius, because you're kind of, you're in the field of being a chemist. Correct me if I'm wrong, and having a lot of experience reading scientific studies. Correct me if I'm wrong, and but just seeing a lot of the data coming out now and the push for kids to have vaccinations, and then this recently they wanted to start having vaccinations for kids under 5, and that was getting really crazy. And then there's another gentleman in California where we all are, named Senator Richard Pan. Tim vanished slowly but surely, and he's going to be pushing something, I believe, legislation to require all children 5 and up to be vaccinated, or you cannot be at school, and that would fall under everything else, measles and everything else that's already existing. This is the same guy who wrote the other one back in was it 2000?
Yep.
What year was that?
15, 16?
15?
Something like that. Back when we were all happy still.
So it's very concerning for me, being a parent. I'm not, and we've talked about this in depth, and we can go into the detail about why we don't want to vaccinate our kids. But I feel like on one hand, you have a lot of people around the world kind of backing off their mandates and backing off some of those restrictions, while, we kind of have a little bit, I guess, but California isn't really necessarily. I don't know. How do you feel about this, and how have you kind of approached it with your own family, Darius?
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting question, right? I think the first part about this is that when this first started, the belief was that the masking, the social distancing, well, no, hold on. The masking specifically was designed not to protect yourself, but protect others in the event that you are sick. You're not spraying your particles because we know it's transferred in droplets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we learned very quickly, and I don't want to make this all emo and depressing and shit,
Mm-hmm.
but we learned very quickly that not everyone's on the same page. And it doesn't take much. If you have 100 people, 3 people unmasked, that's all you really need to keep this thing spreading around, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so nothing.
Talking about COVID.
And for me, that's, I think, was one of the most fundamental issues, was that we were treating this as if we're trying to save our fellow man or woman or child. And ultimately, what we've learned through this experiment is that not everyone gives a shit about other people.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, no one's really required to. I mean, I think you're a shitty person if you don't, but at the end of the day, it's not in the fucking Constitution that you have to care about other people, right? So I think that that's where fundamentally my thought has shifted to take care of my family, right? So wear the N95, wear a mask if I feel as though it'll protect me, because ironically, even though, yeah, droplets can come in, it also prevents you from putting your hands in your mouth because you're wearing the mask, right?
But how much do you touch that thing? I've noticed I touch it a lot because it's uncomfortable, especially.
What are we talking about? Your dick?
The mask.
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always like messing with. I end up touching it more than I probably would my face, because especially the cloth masks, they can kind of start tickling your face. It gets hot. If I'm wearing glasses, bro, I'm high maintenance, and it starts fogging up the lenses, and I got to move it to like let them unfog again. Totally. And so, I mean, how realistic is it that, I know to your point earlier, is that people would have been taking it more serious in the beginning or doing it more universally, that really that's going to happen, especially worldwide?
Totally agree with you. I think it's too late. And I think vaccinate. I mean, I've heard a variety of theories. I think one of the biggest ones that I took a very concerned stance with was how we were planning to vaccinate ourselves to protect, like vaccinate our kids to protect people that are diabetic or morbidly obese or any of those comorbidities related to obesity.
Mhm.
Now, listen, I understand that of the 1% that had these comorbidities, a lot of them did not ask for this, right? They're born with a particular genetic defect. You know, like one of my favorite Peloton instructors is she's diesel. She's so super cut, super healthy, but she's a diabetic, right?
Mhm.
I understand she didn't choose that lifestyle, but that is the exception. The majority of people are fat bitches like myself. And so, you know, we created this, we chose this life over years of choices, and now we have to vaccinate our kids to accommodate these people. That's bullshit. And so that's why for me, I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted because I am fat and I have asthma, right? Take care of yourself. It's a dumb analogy, but I'm gonna say it, right? When the pressure changes in the airplane, you don't put your your passenger's mask on first. You put your own mask on before you help the passenger.
Mhm.
So take care of your own family, get your family right? Get healthy, and then we can worry about how our vectors are transferring this disease to others.
Mhm.
I mean,
You
so
know, right. I agree. You know what is weird though? How everybody got vaccinated. A lot of people caught COVID a second time. And
Correct.
my sister-in-law caught it a second time and then had the Pfizer vaccines, which was weird. And I never, like, it ripped through my work, but I never caught it a second time. I had one vaccine at the time. I didn't even need the vaccine because I got exposed to it even after I had COVID the first time, and I never caught it again. And then a buddy of mine had the vaccines, never caught it, but everybody else in the department caught it. So I don't understand.
Well, that's what I wanted to
I
talk
just
about.
don't really get how. I mean, there's probably a lot more to it than
Well,
just it just got weaker as it changed its form or its
Here's
Yeah,
my problem.
mutated.
Here's my problem, though,
mutated.
right?
I mean, luckily it mutated in the better way, right?
We don't know yet.
I mean,
Depends
nobody
on what
really,
you mean.
well,
Depends
nobody
on what
really
you mean.
died from this like, compared to when it first came out. As many people.
Right. But the economy is murdered as a
of
result.
Of
Right.
course.
Like, because it made
Yeah.
people sick, and then
Yeah.
they weren't able to work their positions. I mean, I'm talking across the board: railroads,
Oh, yeah.
planes, boats.
Well, a lot of that too is because of shutdowns, though,
yards.
right?
Yeah.
No,
economic
no,
shutdown.
that's
Because that John
25%.
Hopkins study was like all the stops we
20%
did to
better.
stop it, it really had no effect on mortality at all. It was like 0.2%, like swing
Yeah.
in mortality. Have you read that study yet? Or
yeah,
looked at it?
yeah. We passed that one around just like Omicron a few days
So,
ago.
yeah, it's like this is my problem with a lot of this stuff, and tell me kind of what you think about this, both of you. Is like you have trust the science, and that term to me has become so politicized as bullshit. It doesn't mean anything because you can have multiple people pointing to different papers, contradicting information, and be like, well, here I'm following the science, or some people just blatantly not even doing it, and I think the old playbook, we talked about it from the CDC and other epidemiologists, was that lockdowns don't really work. And yet we did it anyway this time, and we were trying to treat it like you were saying, Darius, is like we're trying to stop every single person from getting it. And it's shown obviously that you can still be boosted, vaccinated, and still get it. And so now it just becomes a decision whether or not I'm going to do it to help prevent death or serious complications for myself. So now you have the government kind of deciding whether or not each individual is going to do that. And if you're going to do that, well, why aren't you doing that for smoking, for eating sugar, for all these other things? But my question to you guys is, how can you possibly follow the science when one, it's evolving, and two, and you saw it, like depending on who was entrenched where, and it goes both sides, pro-vax or against the vax. It's like people want to pick and choose what they want to believe. So how in the world do you possibly,
because it came across
any kind of
as
accurate information?
Because it was deceitful the way it came out. Like, oh, it didn't come from a lab. Oh, it came from nature. Oh no, now we think it really did come from a lab. So it started on a lie, and then it just went wild, I think.
Well, don't you think that was motivated by the whole Trump situation, the election year? Like,
yeah, but the whole thing was a mess. Like, it just was a mess.
But think of it this way, right? There are constant, at least we believe that there are constant human rights violations in China today.
Oh yeah.
But we don't know, right? We don't actually know. Jack Ma we believe was kidnapped and beat down, right? But we don't know. So
what happened to him? Where'd he go?
I don't know. But
I think he's showed back up, right?
yeah. But I guess that's kind of the point. Or like, think about, and I'm unfortunately going to butcher her name, but I want to say it's Peng Shui.
No, it's close. Yeah.
The
I
tennis
know.
player, right? She comes out strong against some sexual, conduct allegations. Boom. All of a sudden can't get a hold of her. So the origin is not surprising to me that we would never know because it's China, right?
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
But also for what it's worth, if it was the United States, we probably wouldn't know either. Bay of Pigs come to mind, right? Like,
well, I'm sure
like,
we're mixed up in it some degree. We are mixed up in funding it or whatever it is. Definitely, the United States has their hand in it.
Yeah, I just think.
At all.
So I think you have two major things that were working against you. I think the Trump, like, I think if Donald Trump was never president, I think the approach would have been completely different. And I don't mean for better or for worse. I just think with Trump, it was always absolutism, right? Like, hey, this is the best. We are the best. This is how it has to happen. And I think that what people forget as a PhD scientist, I am DB, right? You can look me up on Google Scholar and you'll find DB, because I'll never give my real name on here. Is that science evolves, right? So if we would have just fucking said we don't know where it came from, but it's here, like, who fucking cares where it came from, right?
Well,
it's here.
Can I interrupt you real quick to kind of follow up?
Yes, you already did. So go ahead.
I care where it came from because I want to know who fucked up. I want to know who screwed up and why it actually came out and why it escaped. Like, that's important to know so it doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
Could not. So Scott, let me answer this real quick. So completely agree with you. So if we think about like an ambulance or like an ER doctor, right? Their job is to stop the bleeding immediately for a patient.
Right.
And then diagnose and assess where it came from. So I think there's two parts there. And I think you're completely right because we don't want to repeat the same mistakes either, right?
Well, yeah, just think if it was like an Ebola, something crazy deadly, like 90% death rate, or that would be terrifying.
Ebola is fucking scary as shit. But anyway, I agree with you. I think that there is still some, and it goes back to that, like, anyone that had any theory that was not what the mainstream came out with was considered crazy. Right. And I think that was very frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, that you kind of basically said it there is because the mainstream narrative that was out in the beginning, right? You can kind of say, well, it was evolving science or we were investigating what happened, but you still had people who are kind of saying what now is true then. For example, the masks don't really work. And now it's cloth masks don't really work. And then it's, the origin. Oh, this probably came from a lab. There were people saying that. And then, no, don't say that. And kind of like,
but isn't that
so,
didn't you know cloth masks don't work as well as N95s? I mean, I knew that when we were like, you can wear cloth masks. I'm like, those aren't going to work. And
hold on. We need to assess what you mean. What do you mean cloth masks don't work?
Well, they don't work as well as an N95 mask. They're not as.
But work as well doing what?
They're saying it's not going to stop you if you're in an enclosed environment with other people who have it about catching it.
Well, that's why hospitals.
But that's always been the comment. See, this is exactly the problem. Masks were never meant to protect the wearer.
Correct.
They're meant to protect the other people.
Correct.
Always. That has been for.
But there's an obvious difference between an N95 and a cloth mask, correct?
There is an obvious difference between an N95 and any other mask because the particle size of the airborne particle is larger than an N95, but smaller than every other mask available to market.
Okay, so when they come out and say, "Hey, everybody mask up," or remember when they were flip-flopping earlier, they were saying, "Hey, they don't work." Obviously, it's obvious it was a lie to control what we do in response, right? We all panicked and went and bought toilet paper. We all clear off the shelves. They don't want us going and buying N95s, taking away medical equipment from hospitals and everybody else who, needs them obviously more. But does that bother you, or did that surprise you in any way, thinking, okay, well, obviously the government doesn't have my best interest, me personally and my family in mind, if shit hits the fan? Because right, if we go back to Tim's example and it's Ebola and it's a fatality rate through the roof, they're not going to tell you the truth about that, or if it infringes upon more important people having the protection that they need or anything else. Does that bother you? Was that a surprise to you, or do you not agree with that?
It doesn't bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me is because we've seen what happens when everyone's left to their devices. And I mean, it's a perfect social experiment. I think you have to save that equipment because one doctor or one nurse can help 10 COVID patients, but the flip is not true. And we saw that with Omicron. As nurses are dropping like flies with sickness, there's no one to help manage the patients, or cops, or firefighters, or paramedics. And so if you give those to the correct people, I think you're better off. I understand what you're getting at, Scott, and I think it's as a lot of people like to say, and it feels like a cop out, but I think it's accurate, as it is a slippery slope, right? Who gets to decide what information is passed on?
Mhm.
Like, I think it comes back to like, okay, who got Pfizer? Who got Moderna? Whoa, has anyone else ever picked their manufacturer of any other fucking vaccine they've had jammed into them? No.
It's crazy.
Do you
isn't
know
it?
who your flu manufacturer is? No, you just fucking go get it done. Because
Mhm.
I don't think the general person can make a difference or understand.
But doesn't that bother you on a personal level though? Because you can't trust the information. Right? We have no clue what's going on in China, and this is partly conspiracy theorists and stuff. You get into some weird stuff because like if they want to criticize you from getting information from the mainstream narrative, the media, then they're saying, well, it's not the correct information. You're getting passed a false narrative. But then like, okay, where are you getting your information? Who's feeding you what's happening? So ultimately, we're kind of at the mercy of whoever's giving us that info, whether it's accurate or not, unless we're physically there. Since we're not on most international scale, whether it's a nuke coming over, some kind of chemical or biological weapons attack, it doesn't bother you that you can't trust the government to tell you what's up when it shit hits the fan. Like you're kind
That's
of
why
on your own.
That's why people watch Joe Rogan so much, because he interviews a bunch of different people who have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
And they just tell it how it is in their opinion, and people like that. It's refreshing instead of getting it, a big corporation telling you what you need to hear.
Yeah. I mean, because I agree with you, Darius. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you tell the public? What's for the greater good? What's going to, the most survival across the board? But I was kind of an eye opener for me. Like I wasn't like totally trusting of the government, but being from law enforcement family, and like you're not necessarily thinking, oh, the government's out to get me at every corner and every turn, and they're just people working just like us. But this really, on just kind of a minor thing with something that wasn't that fatal, they're lying to you. And so to me, it's like, man, how can you trust anything coming out of their mouth for anything that or more serious? It's like, fuck, I don't care.
Well, I guess, well, you said something that's a little alarming. You said like for something that wasn't that like dangerous.
Okay, so in comparison to what's because you're probably more up on the numbers than we are. What's the current, I guess, fatality rate for COVID-19?
Rate, I don't know.
Or like how many? What is it like? Got to be under
1%.
I guess if we subtract obese people, right? It's not like 60%, 70% of the hospitalizations and deaths are people with pre-existing conditions.
But I guess for me, it's not like I never cared about people dying. In fact, I think more people should die. I'm saying like what I'm saying is the disease has had a significant economic impact. And we didn't get to go back to this because you're earlier you brought up shutdowns.
Mm-hmm.
However, the timeline, we have a much longer timeline. The shutdowns are done. We're back up. We have mask mandates, right? That's the big point of contention nowadays in social distancing. All of the economic disruptions, I shouldn't say all because it's always a bad word, but like a lot of the economic disruptions over the past 60 days are due to the infection.
Yeah, Omicron, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
and so
but
that's been the most crippling part.
But how much of that is the kind of crazed response to when you get it? You have to go in quarantine and like just lock yourself away, and then your job doesn't let you there because people come to work sick all the time. They come with the colds and whatever else. I mean, how symptomatic are these people? Are they all bedridden?
I think so.
Because I'm not gonna lie. When I got it, dude, I was like, fuck, I gotta go lay down. So I'm not saying it's not serious. I'm not saying people don't feel crappy. But like, how do we parse all that out?
I felt like I had the flu when I had it the first time.
Yeah, me too.
Which, I mean, in general, if you get the flu, you're supposed to stay home, right?
Yeah.
Like I think most people would agree.
Like I would not,
but you wouldn't want to work.
No,
I mean, I get a little tickle in my throat. I'm like, I can't go to work.
So my friend went to work when I was calling it sick because he caught it at the same time. He went to work with it. And he's like, dude, I feel terrible. He's like, if you didn't call in, I would have called in. But he was dumping down NyQuil and going to work. I'm like, I don't know how you did that because I was feeling pretty bad.
God forbid if your life is on the line, the last thing you want to do is, deal with that shit.
Imagine him going. I mean, he had to go to calls and with COVID. I mean, it was just a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
You had earlier versions of it, probably the more serious versions of it. Darius and I had the lighter version of it, if you can
Isn't
say
it
that.
all the same though? I mean, it doesn't matter which version.
No, I mean, the original and Delta were more serious. They got into lungs and they replicated into lungs apparently really well. And this one was more in your bronchial, right?
I did cough.
Which is still in your lungs, though, just to be clear.
Yeah, I've heard some people, man, they get messed up from it still. So it's not like it's not going in anybody's lungs anymore.
And also, just to remember, Tim, the timelines again, right? When you got it,
when was that? That was March of 2020.
Right, there was no vaccine, right? So we were afforded the opportunity for those of us that wanted to get the poke to get it. So mine was very easy.
True.
So yours was tough.
Their advice then was like, just stay home. If you get bad, go to the hospital. I'm like, what? So in the beginning, you're like, that's kind of concerning. But then you're like, whatever. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. Let me say something about like propaganda, because there's a lot of stuff people like bagging on anti-vaxxers, and like, there's, oh, you're going to die from the vaccine. And it gets really over the top. I agree. None of us are here, I think, are anti-vaxxers. Our kids are vaccinated. We've had all our vaccinations, whatever. But man, after reading Twitter and reading some threads about, I thought if I got it, I'm dead. Like, it was like total panic, and the whole thing was like, and all these, it was like mainstream medical doctor posted something.
I caught it and I wasn't dead, and you're related to me.
But you worry about being so much hype though, and the media.
It doesn't matter.
The whole thing of the narrative and scaring you and getting you to watch. So there's like that too. But then you start believing that you're gonna
people. We're not gonna get. You know what I mean? Like we're not.
You start believing you're going to be that one person with some weird fucking reaction. Correct. And I'm going to die. And like, am I going to throw my life away because I didn't want to get a stupid vaccination? So like, I was like really borderline. I'm going to go get it. I'm not going to go get it. And eventually,
Pablo, his whole family caught it. He didn't catch it. Saida, my wife, she didn't catch it. My kids didn't catch it. Like, so I think some people just luckily don't get it.
Maybe. I mean, the blood types too were playing a little role there. And for a while, they were talking about that. Who knows what's going on?
Do blood types play a role?
It's got to. I don't know if they know exactly yet, but it's got to.
Yeah,
it's got to.
But I kind of pulled us away. But I'm just a little, and I'm kind of irritated too. And I'm curious because Darius, you've gotten all the vaccinations. Tim, you've intermittently gotten poked for after you've had it, and you keep getting stuck, and then
Dude, you don't understand how bad I felt. So I got COVID, and then my work was mandated, and I'm like, I'll just get one just to appease them. I got one. I wasn't going to do it. I flip-flopped forever. Then I got one. I felt terrible for 2 days. My lymph node in my armpit blew up. Did I tell you this?
You sent me a picture. That was lovely.
That was like a year after I had COVID. Then I got the booster because when the Omicron was coming, I'm like, I don't even need it. And because it was ripping through the apartment, I'm like, I still haven't caught it. And this other guy said, let's just get it. Let's go down here during work. So I went and got it. I got the Pfizer one. And that night, I started shaking, shivering, the whole thing again. I got just as bad symptoms like I had COVID again. It was terrible. For 2 days, I felt like complete ass. So that's weird.
Well, you probably didn't need to get it. But don't you feel like, do you guys feel a little shafted? I say this because there's a gentleman at the gym, and I should say the view from the fence says first time watching, hoping for a good conversation. Thanks for watching. Bear Lamb says hello from Winnipeg. Hello. We're all in California. It's warmer here. It's been like 80 or 90 down in Southern California. So I don't know what it is.
He's on from where? From where?
Winnipeg, Canada.
Oh, wow. That is cold.
My brother-in-law lived in Canada, Buffalo. No, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I'm not that stupid. Buffalo, New York after Canada, but he was in Edmonton before that. And it was like just so cold. And it was like, it sounded terrible, but they were used to it by the time they got to Buffalo.
I'm in Palm Springs. We love snowbirds. I'm telling you.
In Northern California, what is it? It was 75 up here today, and then it's like probably around, I don't know, 45.
Yeah, dude. The second
what is it? What is it where you are right now? Dude, wait, are we supposed to say where you are? Do you care?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in a hotel room in Palm Springs. Yeah.
Okay.
With a dead person on my bed. It's fine.
How hot is it there? What did it get up to?
85.
Nice. Okay, so it's similar to LA.
Yeah, exactly. But everything's on fire, so it's great.
Wait, seriously? Oh, it's
17.
Minus 17 degrees. Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. I went to a Steeler.
How do you see that?
The chat. I don't know how Darius is seeing it, actually.
I'm actually very trendy and I'm very in the know on technology. See, look, I have an Apple Watch because I'm very talented with electronics.
I do like the
Still
Apple
haven't
Watch.
set up a single thing.
have
I
one.
love it, but
I like
all my notifications are set up to do not disturb, and I have no idea how to turn it off. Like I shut off focus, and it's
Well-
everyone's like, "What's that moon?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I turned it off."
The
I
moon
think.
is do not disturb, I think, right?
Well, it's annoying
Yeah, I
to
can
have
do it.
like a buzzing on your wrist all the time. You know, like leave me
Oh,
alone.
I love it. I
Do
love
you?
it. I can't stand having like messages available to me. So anyway, so I was in Pittsburgh right before I got Rona and gave it to everybody watching the Steelers play, right? And it was 19 degrees, positive, 19 Fahrenheit, positive. I felt like I was
pretty
gonna
cold.
fucking die. I
Yeah.
felt like I was gonna die. I had a beanie on, a jacket, I had gloves, and I felt in my core I was cold. So I just drank a lot and yelled a lot. And it helped numb the pain because then it got more pain up there.
The
So,
coldest I've been is -29 in Alaska.
that's
And
crazy.
like I walked out of the airport and it felt like your face was burning. I felt like it was on
Yeah.
fire. It
Yeah,
was
it's
just a
the
weird,
opposite.
bizarre feeling. Don't you dare yawn on a live stream. Holy shit.
Crazy.
Oh my God. What is that crap?
But you know what is silly though? Like I'm in the gym and these people wear the masks. They say there's masks, you have to wear them in there and all that. And people like you
Oh,
have
do
them
you?
down your chin. Some people have them here.
It's horse shit. Yeah, it's stupid.
It's just like it makes no sense. Like why are you? I don't get
Also,
it.
that's the demographic that doesn't give a fuck about masks. No
Yeah.
offense to the gym.
No,
folks.
it's
Well, that's
true.
me too. Like when I'm working out, if I'm sucking in cloth in my face, like I can't do it. There's
Darius,
an
be honest.
outside-
Darius, be honest, dude.
I'll go outside and work out because there's an outside and you don't have to wear it out there, but inside they make you wear it.
How much
And,
do you how much do you not give a shit anymore since you've gotten Omicron? Like you're like, fuck,
I'll run around
immune.
naked.
You're like you're just
I'll
like,
run around naked. I don't know, but one of 7 rules for fat people: you don't run around naked. But it is. I don't care. In fact, I just read something that you have about 4 months guaranteed. So I've got 4
Well,
months
that's
to
just-
fucking live it up.
that's just where the antibodies are elevated, right? But after that, like the memory cells maybe can kick it up pretty high. That's another thing too.
Maybe.
Is all the
I
shitting
hear-
on natural immunity that's been going on. I'm irritated about that. But my main question to you two was because you've both had vaccinations. Do you feel lied to about them? Do you feel like it was sold as something when they knew or pre-data, and then they kind of knew like another booster has to come, another booster has to come, another booster has to come, and do you think they were over promising? So not
No.
necessarily being sinister and lying to you, but like they were assuming things were like in the bag and they were not. I mean, they know
Who's
they
they?
knew. So like I guess you could point to Fauci because he's like the mouthpiece for that stuff. But it's like everybody behind the scenes who knows variants are coming. Everybody in the know, epidemiologists, virologists. I mean, they all know variants are coming. So why are you saying, well, you just get a booster and you get another booster, and then the whole heart inflammation thing, myocarditis, and then that whole big controversy. And if it's more prevalent in younger males, and then like the push for vaccinations before you had the data really to say, and we still don't necessarily really know. And
Well,
they're going
backing
younger and younger and younger, and now they're fucking talking about under 5. Like
No, they're backing
is-
away from that.
I know
Backing away from that now. I read an article where they're trying to
I know,
gather
but-
more because I guess it wasn't looking good because the kids weren't really catching it. So their justification to push it, they were like, why? Like
but doesn't that whole picture make you go, what is going on behind the scenes? Like what is
money,
the, what
dude.
is
It's
the
all
push?
it's about money. It's about money. Yeah,
Okay, so let's talk about what you originally said, Scott, which was, do I feel lied to?
money.
Yeah, money talks. However, no, I don't feel lied to because I think from day one, the Pfizer CEO said there would be annual boosters, and in fact, that was plastered all over Fox News. That this motherfucker wants to do every year. So they've always known, right? And also we've known coronaviruses. I mean, like a rhinovirus, I think is the official name. I could be, no, that doesn't sound right. So let's strike that from this live record. But it's it morphs a lot. That's why like the common colds, it morphs so much. That's why it's just endemic, right? And so I think that the window to protect was very small, and I think that maybe was misrepresented. But no, I don't necessarily feel lied to. I think it's no different at this point than a flu vaccine. I think the challenge is that with the flu vaccine, you have a choice. You have a choice to get that. You are not required to, at least in the United States. And so to force this on and not make it a choice, I think is the mistake.
But see, that then in itself, see, I feel lied to, or I feel it at minimum, it's it felt very propaganda the whole time. The push for it, even like you
Yeah,
said,
like paying
kind of
people to get it, right?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
the framing of it, we're going to stomp this virus out. We're going to get, herd immunity. And
Well, it's because
that narrative, I remember the day I read an article by a few virologists. One of them was part of AstraZeneca, I think, the vaccinate. So like legit dudes, mainstream dudes believed in vaccinations. They came out and said, that's a myth. We're not stomping it out. It's not going away. And the same day I saw Fauci on MSNBC, I think, saying, we need to do this. We need to stomp it out. We still have an opportunity. And I was just like, what is that?
well, they're
Like,
But what's
what
the
the hell
harm in
is that?
trying? But what's the harm in trying to stomp it out?
Because I think Fauci, for everybody, all the shit that they talk about him, he's a really smart guy and a very accomplished guy. And I think he knows that. I think he knew that it wasn't going to, that's not the truth.
because
But he's saying
talking
it
to the
because he knows
masses
that's a way
people.
of getting you to get a vaccination, to still go get it. So
Exactly.
I think they were trying.
He's talking to the entire United States, trying to appease to everyone. So he's just going to talk stupid to people, like, "Hey, we're going to stomp it out," and everybody's going to think, "Okay, let's go get the vaccine."
But you give fodder and ammunition to people who pay attention to it, and they're like, "What are you doing? You're lying."
Well, of
So,
course.
or you're deliberately twisting it, walking the line too much, and you're like, "Nah, you're not telling me the truth."
But it's all about.
But are you sure he knew the truth?
Oh,
Like,
I
what
don't
makes
give him a
you think-
pass. Well, why
I think he
why do
does.
those other guys know and he doesn't? He's like
But
the
what
dude.
makes you think they know? Well, I guess that's the fundamental problem with all of this is everyone thinks they understand, but this is like what the second time this has happened in the history of the planet, right? The Spanish flu becoming endemic was the first example.
That was
I
bad. That was
I think
bad.
my problem with it is because if you want to be really generous, he should have at least known that it's not a slam dunk, and he was presenting it as a slam dunk, right? I think you even mentioned, Darius, like at first it was like what, 70% need to get vaccinated, or 60%, then it was like 80%, then it's like 90%, now it's like 95%. And it's like they just kept raising the number. And you can say, yeah, it's evolving science, and they just didn't. I think it was
I
just
don't think
this,
so,
yeah, the same when he admitted that I was just telling the public what they needed to know at the time, or now I think they're ready to know what the real truth is. I think he plays God. Now we're kind of getting on Fauci, but it's like, I think it's just a manipulation of the public.
Well, he likes the
manipulation of
power
the
trip.
masses.
You can tell he likes the power trip. I mean, look at his position. He likes that position. He obviously makes money. It ends up being about money at the
Highest
end.
paid in government. He got paid more than the president of the United States.
I mean,
what, in
it's
2019
it's
or
really
something?
if they all worked for free, do you think it would be like this? Would be the big push? No.
Well, you want to pay him a lot because you want like sharp minds, top of the field, people competing, getting those spots.
Kind of ridiculous though.
But I mean, well,
I just think you guys give too much credit to Fauci and others as if they knew and were planning this all along. And I think you said something important, Scott. You said manipulation. Yeah, I think people go to school to learn how to message and market public health messaging, and it is effectively manipulation because otherwise people are idiots.
Well, don't you just think that's like a fancy way of saying they're lying?
No,
Kinda?
because
Or
I
a nice
don't
way?
think I don't think it's lying. I really don't. Like, it's not much different than like, hey, eat 2,000 calories a day, right? We think that's the best move, but it doesn't help for everybody. They don't say that. They just say eat 2,000 calories a day as part of a balanced meal, unless you're fat, right? And so, like, I don't know. I don't think that. I think you're giving too much credit, like they knew all the answers ahead of time.
Yeah, not. I mean, I see what you're saying, but I feel like more so. At least I'm attacking the
They definitely know.
the definitive way in which they were talking about stuff when it was obvious if
They
you read any kind of studies coming out of Israel or any places that were highly vaccinated, like, hey, this might not be really accurate. You're seeing different stuff.
They definitely
But yeah, they
know
were
more.
because I think they were so focused on the messaging, and it's very similar, like you say,
Oh my
manipulation. I
God,
feel like
can you stop talking?
I just have to say this. It's a political line, like politicians. It's the way they lie. It's like they'll take a set of data and they can just twist it a little bit to kind of point one direction.
Yeah,
Technically,
look at Trump, Hillary.
Yeah, you can't catch them on a
Newsom,
lie, but
for sure.
They all know more than what they're saying.
But it's health.
Everybody knows more than what they're saying. Every government official knows more than what they're telling the public. Everybody does that. Police do that. Everyone. So guaranteed he knows more than what he's saying. Obviously, he's not going to tell the public everything and the media everything.
So I'm not going to vaccinate my kids because they're not going to be part of that.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Well, he said it right. He said,
study.
I mean, now, I mean, the parents. I think the parents are pushing back so hard that I don't remember the article. I don't want to misquote it. But did you read that today or yesterday? It came out about how Pfizer's backing away from.
Yeah,
they're not backing away. So they've been asked to resubmit additional data.
Okay.
Because it wasn't as effective as they wanted. It was still safe, which again, I don't think anyone is arguing that the short-term safety record is in question. It's the long-term safety record that we don't know about. And also, I mean, risk reward. Kids aren't really big vectors, right? Like,
yeah, so why am I going to inject them with? Yeah, exactly.
100%. And
then year after year after year with boosters.
Yeah, no.
See, that's the key.
That's ongoing. Then
that's the key. So I read that. Yeah, I read that data has to be resubmitted. You know, and the Dr. Ping assembly bill would be, just to point out, would be for an emergency use authorization. So if that bill passes, if Pfizer gets this approved as an EUA, it automatically goes into effect. Gavin Newsom saying he'd require vaccinations required a full panel approval of the vaccine, which at least follows some semblance of common sense. I'm not saying it's perfect, but at least he's like, all right, it needs to be fully approved, which is standard practice.
Right.
So I think it's going to get hung up in the courts, I hope. But this was so Tim, going back to what you're saying, like, everyone pushes back right now. We saw this with his last bill in 2015, 2016. Everyone today is upset about it. But 2 years from now, are people still going to be thinking about it, still pushing against it? Or is he going to just slide it in there?
Yeah.
Or they, right? Whatever their cohort is.
Yeah.
And that's the part that scares me a little bit, to be honest.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So what is your guys', because I agree with everything you said, obviously. It's concerning to me, and I've seen some of I think it's Pan, right? I've seen him cite some data, and I'm just kind of like, that's not, even according to the CDC, he was saying, 1,000 kids have died so far. And it's like, well, somebody asked him, like, 1,000 in California or 1,000 in the United States? And it's like, at the time it was like 800 something in the entire United States. And if you do the numbers, I mean, it's like, fraction of percentages here. Now we're getting into
out of those
to justify forced.
I mean, I don't mean
children.
to be coarse, but that's 20 kids a state.
And then which kid? What do those kids have? Were they immune? Was their immune system?
Yeah, well, that was his argument, and Darius pointed it out. I think at the time we were debating about it, was that we need to protect immunocompromised kids, unhealthy kids. I'm like, what world are we living in now, to where the vast majority are going to have to do something for a small minority when it should be the other way around? And if a vaccine is only helping with, because it's helping them individually. You're not, the spread thing is still a problem.
That's wacky thinking.
Makes no sense.
No.
But what are you guys going to do, right, if it passes and it's mandated, and for your children to go to school in California now you need to be vaccinated? What is your plan?
I unfortunately can't tell you on this.
Oh.
I can text you separately.
Okay. All right. I'm going to assume that it involves terroristic threats. I'm just kidding. Please don't scrub that.
That's racist.
Please don't.
That's racist.
We're going to cancel him.
He went to terroristic threats because I'm Persian. Let it be known.
Do you have
Let it be known.
It's my Freudian slip. It's my
Frodoian?
Frodoian?
What the fuck is happening?
Did you say
we went from racism to Lord of the Rings?
It's my Rogan moment. Tim, what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
You'll stay. I mean, obviously, you can't. Yeah,
I can't leave anywhere right now. I'm kind of stuck here for at least another.
So you pretty much get vaccinated. I think we would leave.
I really don't know.
I think we obviously would leave the state, and I had somebody in the sauna. Back to the sauna, man. You're
just going to leave the state with 3 kids, and you're not going to do that.
Yeah, if somebody told me that they could not function in society, like we're not going to let them go to school, if they can do remote learning.
I don't think it's going to come to that though.
Well, to Darius's point, unless the courts get involved, you're pretty much fast tracked, because it's just, they're going to put it in there when everything calms down. No one's really thinking about it. It's like, oh, it's just added to the list of all the other vaccines. Nobody cares. Oh, okay,
yeah. I don't know if I'm gonna. I wouldn't. I don't know.
It bothers me. I have one other thing here. I know, Darius, you probably need to leave soon, but Bear Lamb says, I am not vaccinated. I will never get vaccinated. My body, my choice. I got the South African variant. It wasn't that bad. I think Darius and I also had the South African variant. The my body, my choice argument, and this is very controversial, and I'm gonna like just say it anyway.
Where did you read that?
It's the comments that you can't see that Darius and I can see
Oh,
because you're not
okay.
special. People who argue now, you can take this from both sides, right? If the Republicans saying that promoting the point of view that these are your own body, you shouldn't have something injected into them, right? And if you want to bring in abortion, but then they want to control that, a woman deciding what she does with a child, right? But they're not okay with that, but they're okay with the other one. But on the flip side of that, you could say, well, if people are arguing for choice, a lot of, I would say, left-leaning Democrat, liberal people would be pro-choice, and they want to say that, my body, my choice. But then when it comes to the vaccinations, I think you would be fair to say maybe more left-leaning people are going to be pro-vax and to say, take it for the good, blah, blah, blah. How do you guys view that argument? I think I looked it up just for shits and giggles about how many children are aborted worldwide. I could be wrong. I was trying to find reliable information. It was really fast. I want to say it was like 70, I'll be conservative, like 60 million plus worldwide a year are aborted. How do you correlate those two
That's
arguments?
a weird comparison. Mr. Ted can go first.
The comparison being that my body, don't tell me what to do. So if you're going to have a child, don't tell me what to do. If you're going to, being true libertarian, stay out of my life, stay out of my body, kind of toward the government. How do you feel about that? Do you think it should be universal? And a lot of it's just, to me, pointing out just hypocrisy of people on one side arguing one thing and then flipping because they think it's, they agree with it. Like most political arguments go, if you agree with something, you tend to back it. Do you guys have an opinion on that, or is it just too controversial, you don't want to touch it?
I'll touch anything, Scott.
Forcing people to do anything isn't going to work. You can't force people to do that.
I think people forget that we live in a society where you enter an unwritten contract that you're contributing to that society. And so I understand the my body, my choice, but I think there's a limit to that when your decisions about what you plan to do. Now, for what it's worth, right? I think this is a three-headed strategy to minimizing COVID, right? You don't have to get the vaccine to minimize COVID. You mask and you social distance, right? And you use common sense, God forbid, right? But I think that as long as those pieces are considered, I don't necessarily love the my body, my choice argument, because at the end of the day, you're in a society. And also, I'm pretty sure in our daily lives, there's probably some type of contradiction in that anyway, right? My body, my choice, but I wear a seatbelt, right?
Oh, we got into that argument. Remember that?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying anyone's wrong for that. I'm just saying, I think that there's a better argument to be made. Instead of saying my body, my choice, I'm going to use the other mitigation measures, right? I'm going to wear the N95, or I'm going to wear a surgical mask, which is shown not to transmit, even if it puts me at risk for getting infected. And I'm going to maintain social distancing. And I'm going to buy millions of pounds of ethanolic hand sanitizer that probably is giving me cancer, and put it all over my hands and my face and my mouth so I stop swearing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What about the flu shot, though? They mandate the damn flu shot then,
completely.
Yeah.
How do you mandate one and not the other?
Yeah, that doesn't. Right? So right there, they lose their power in the argument. Then what about the flu? Did that just magically disappear? No, that kills people too. Then
you would be going after cigarettes, then you would be going after junk food then, because really now you're talking about how to make the most people survive theoretically through healthy choices.
Yeah. So my buddy,
you really shouldn't smoke. It's terrible for you, by the way.
Yeah. So my buddy, he's a surgeon, and his first 2 years of residency, he told me every day was just abscesses from diabetic patients for every day for years. Right. I don't even really know what an abscess is, but it's just, he's just cut out nasty shit so the largest burden on our society today is obesity and heart disease, which results is, and I know it seems like I'm totally fat shaming everyone and probably tanking your ratings, but no one talks about that, because then it goes back to what Tim said. Imagine the financial ecosystem that would crumble if we got rid of sugar, which is more addictive than heroin, right?
Oh, it's terrible. Sugar's terrible.
Right? All these things, all these companies would crumble as a
Yep.
result. And
Who doesn't love sugar? I mean, I will pound down. I'll go to Pound Town. That doesn't sound right.
Jeez. Sounds like what Darius is doing with the hooker in his hotel room right now. Pound town, pound town. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I love it, but I'll make a conscious decision not to eat it 5-6 days out of the week, and then one day I'll have it because it is good. It does taste good, but people eat it all the time. And I was watching something about like you won't even realize you're eating it, and you are like when you have cereals or yogurt or whatever it is.
Correct.
You're just pounding down sugar, and you don't even realize it. It's terrible for your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with it.
Dude, it's so funny you say that because the only way I knew that is I went keto for a while.
Yeah.
And obviously when you're on keto, you can't have carbs, right?
Yeah.
Sugar, for example.
Yep.
And so I was monitoring, my keto, oh my God, the ketogenic levels, right? To get into ketosis. I can't think of the names of it. But dude, days I thought I had 0 carbs and 0 sugar, I was not in ketosis. And I'd go back through, I kept a diary. And it's like hidden in sauces. It's hidden every freaking where. And so I'm a big wino. And so I wine and I drink wine, right? And one thing I learned is like to balance like sweetness and acidity, they cancel each other out. It doesn't mean like if you taste something and it's acidic, it doesn't mean it's not full of sugar. It just means there's more acid than there is sugar, or vice versa, right? So kind of interesting, like, even if you don't taste something to be sweet, it could just be very salty, for example. Right. But there's a little bit of sugar in it anyway, right? To make you addicted to the product so you go back and buy it. Mm-hmm. How fucked up is that?
Oh, it's horrible. Yeah. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard to do, like, especially when you work out or you're doing some heavy exercising. I mean, it's hard to not – I mean, I have to eat carbs. I just am too tired. Like I have to have something. But just eating proteins and vegetables, man, it's hard. For the first couple of weeks, you're like, this is not fun.
You can lose a lot of weight. Huh? You can lose a lot of weight. You really have to supplement it with fat. If you're going to cut out the sugar and all the carbs,
I'll eat meat and everything because I have. Yeah, I'll just.
Yeah. Then I've done. Well, I do the fasting, so I'll fast up to 5 days on water only. And so when I come out of that,
it's crazy.
When I don't do it all the time, like once or twice a year, but you come out of that and it's like full on ketosis. It's funny because I'll go by Joy, and because they work in the hospital and stuff, they'll know what is it, like a fruit smell? Is that right? When you're in ketosis, she'll smell like my breath and go, "Oh, you're definitely in it now." And it's like, that's what we do on the weekends. But smell my breath. Tell me if I'm in ketosis.
You're kind of a hippie. You're kind of a hippie.
A little bit, but it's difficult because when you come out of that, and I've done it before, and like the amount of fat that you have to supplement, and people aren't used to that because they're told fat kills you, it's going to give you a heart attack and everything else. But really, I think it's just the sugar. And if you cut out the sugar and you do like meat, vegetables, maybe a little bit of fruit here and there, I think you're golden.
Because I'll eat like bacon, I'll eat eggs. I won't really do any fruit juices. I'll do like vegetable juice, and then I'll do a little like carbs like spaghetti or something. But I'll try it like for breakfast. I won't eat like milk and cereal or anything like that.
I cut out cereal a long time ago.
Yeah, same.
It's not healthy. It's pretty late, so Darius, I know you got to get going for your big ride tomorrow. Thank you for coming on, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream.
Oh yeah, I backed away from the camera.
Yeah, it's like fuck, guys. Here's my signal.
I've been up since like 5 a.m.
Have you really?
Why? Work?
No, I mean, bills don't pay themselves,
Secret, no, just
Yeah, so after I did the drug run,
so really tomorrow you're riding your Colombian 100-mile drug run?
Yeah, good luck tomorrow when you ride your bike.
Yeah,
thank you. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
How much weight have you lost since you started all this riding?
It's more so the diet, to be honest with you, but about 50 pounds.
Good.
Dude, diet literally is everything. The diet. I mean, you can not work out, change your diet, and you could lose weight.
Do you mind sharing what you started at and kind of what your goal is, or no? You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't care, bro. Like I was 350. What was interesting was like I couldn't tie my shoe. That's when I was like, dang, bro. Like I gotta do something about this. So sorry. So Bear Lamb has like a really, I mean, listen, I'm down with the mask. However, all of the arguments of the statistics listed are exactly the point, right? Like,
go ahead and read it if you want.
Yes. Well, I can't read. Did you not know that?
I can do it. No, it's okay though. You
Thank
have
you.
you have a PhD, so it's okay.
I just can't read. But
Did you learn through pictures?
basically, picture books, you know. But
Dude,
that data is the key.
Today's
right?
day and age, they would do that. You learn in picture books now because testing doesn't exist anymore.
Nope. Everyone gets a medal.
Yeah,
Oh my
go ahead.
God.
Or I'll read it if you don't want to read it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Over 800,000 Americans have heart attacks every year. Every day in the U.S., 28 people died from drinking and driving, and 600,000 people die from cancer every year in the U.S. So wear your mask. So I'll disagree on the last part. That's fine. However, totally agree. Like our priorities shift, right?
Mhm.
Like it just depends on what narrative you want to push,
Mhm.
and that's what's so fast.
They're
Like, what if
pushing
you
the whole
covered
notion,
that?
like, nobody's dying of anything else. Like everybody's dying of COVID. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like all these other
Well,
diseases are still there.
100%. And
You
if
know?
you look up, so like being a chemist, right? Every year they publish the top 50 natural product syntheses, which is like the drugs or the natural products that drugs mimic, right? And at the top of every drug list that's manufactured, it'll always be cholesterol, blood thinners, like it's all the shit related to exactly what Bear Lamb just listed.
Yep.
And it's like they almost need each other. And I do believe pharmaceutical companies were originally designed to help, and in most cases they do help. I take Advil. I think quality of life has improved, right? However, there is a slippery slope where they're like, well, we're also a publicly traded company and we got to make a shitload of money where we can.
Mhm.
So, I just think it's to ignore all the other issues in our world over a virus like this, even if it had a 10% mortality rate. I mean, seems somewhat ignorant.
Yeah, and even if you look at kids, what about drowning? Drowning is huge, and you not let kids swim in pools anymore because you don't let them sit in a classroom with it just gets a little crazy.
Well, and I don't know if is guns too polarizing to talk about.
No, talk
That's
about
all I care
guns.
about anymore. So like
You never really finished your story about your gun, but another time you can do it.
it's fine. I love guns.
After you shoot a lot of people, you can tell us about it.
I have to go out
See,
to the range
racist again. You see that shit? He went the terrorist route again. This motherfucker.
If you ever come up this way, there's a range. I live right near where I work, and I can shoot there whenever I want.
Oh my god, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So
Guy keeps wanting to shoot his gun up there, and I keep telling him no every time he comes up. And now that I live closer to it, I can actually go. He's come up twice, and I haven't done it because I live like an hour away. Now it's a lot closer.
Yeah,
I bring stuff and then I take
like
it home.
5
And I
minutes,
bring stuff and I take it home.
It took me an hour and a half to get to the range. But anyway, that was exactly what the gun instructors were saying. Like, yeah, I mean, it sucks. Guns can kill people, but also like cars are 4,000-pound hunks of metal that can be steered into anybody at any given time. Like, if someone wants to attempt to kill somebody, they will find a way. It's not it's not the tool, it's the people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yep. I agree.
I mean, their argument will be, the guns were designed to kill people. Well, yeah, but anything can kill people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, gravity's a bitch.
Yeah.
Physics is a bitch.
The argument. Sorry, Tim.
What?
I'm sorry. I kept interrupting you.
What?
If
you train a dog, like my dog can kill people. Like if I train her right, if I let her bite you in the throat, she'll kill you. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the argument,
to
take the other side, because we're all like obviously for the Second Amendment here, would be that the number of people you can kill and the speed at which you can kill them obviously is much greater with a firearm. But
you can do that with a car too, in a crowd of people. You can run.
Yeah, I was just about to. That's exactly where I went. Now we're getting into some weird mass murder scenarios.
Yeah. Well, this
is for sure going to get blacklisted
at midnight on a Friday. But I was going to say
is it midnight?
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go and get up.
It says
Tim, get closer to your microphone, you dumb bitch.
Yeah. What?
Get closer to your microphone. Oh, they just want to see your face. I think they think you're beautiful.
He doesn't have a mic, and he's running on an iPhone, I believe, so it sounds like shit. Next time, plug in something so you have some kind of mic.
And for the record, those that are listening, Tim was yelled at, so he had to run into the garage.
I did.
Which, as a parent, we all know. Right, I'm in a hotel room with a dead body in my bed, so it's fine.
I have my mic. My mic's behind me.
But my
the mic's back there.
Oh my god!
Yeah, you know you're it's a mess.
In my house, so I don't know if I told you guys, we bought a new house. Well, you guys know this, but the people paying attention or just sitting there that are probably unsubscribing right now. We bought a house 2 years ago. It's like roughly a dream house for us. We renovated it. It's beautiful. it's way too expensive. This was pre-COVID explosion, right? So, but it's still expensive at the time. And we're like, whatever. And I was excited because I got I got a
arrest him. That's what I'm sorry. I can't really Dolph.
What?
I'm just gonna say Dolph.
Dolph Bavaria.
Dolph
Dolph
Bavaria.
Bavaria. Anyway,
Says arrest him.
to make me laugh. Oh, bummer.
Like in prison without parole.
This is getting dark quickly. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah. So now other details are gonna come out about prison here soon. Keep going.
Yeah,
Darius.
right. So
Why can't I see the comments?
I don't
Well,
know,
getting
'cause
that
you're a
close,
boomer.
it's not a good look. So you might want to wait and do it later. It's like grill to the screen.
He's gonna need a TED talk. So
You're
anyway, so
blurry
we get
as
in this
shit,
house,
Jim. Anyway, sorry,
and
Darius.
I'm like, oh, sweet, I get to work from home, right? But like the master, what we find out is that master is directly above the living room, and we have an open concept first floor. Well, guess what? My voice travels. It's a 60s home all the fucking time. So when Kelsey was working night shifts, right, she would be asleep. I had to go hang out in the garage, stand in the backyard, or stand in the front yard because she could hear me talking on the phone, which I'm on the phone about 4.5 hours a day. So I couldn't even like work in my own house. So I get it, Tim. I had to hide for a long time.
How much do they pay
That's
you?
how it is right now.
How much do they pay you for the
Working
phone
from
sex?
home, and I'm working at night, so I'll sleep during the
$69.
day. And the office is right across from the bedroom, so I'll hear her talk, and they speak the Espanol native language of their people. So
Tim
it's
Rogan.
really loud. Huh?
Hey, you guys, you want to hear a funny N-word story? No,
Just
seriously.
get quiet.
No, seriously. It's not what you think.
What?
The in Chinese and Mandarin, there's a word that sounds like that with an A at the end, and it means like or It's a pause in their language. And when I first met my wife, they're Chinese, so they speak Mandarin. We were on BART or something of Northern California, and then it's very mixed people. You have blacks, Asians, Mexicans, whoever, whites, everybody up there, like any other major city. And they're talking.
Did you miss anybody? Name some more.
Indigenous people. I
Persians?
don't know. And
He did say terrorist. Ethnic racist.
I should say terrorist because we have a Persian. But they were talking and they said it, and it was like the very deliberate and right in the middle. And this black dude was sitting next to us, and I went and I turned and looked at him. He didn't move a muscle. He didn't budge. And I think the reason I mentioned that is because there was that professor, and I don't know what school it was, but he was teaching a class about speaking Chinese, and he used that word in the class. Did you read about that? And everybody there's like a letter to get him fired because he used that word, and it sounded like the other word. And it was just insane and crazy, and kind of speaks to the crazy environment that we live in today. I don't know if he ended up getting fired or if he had any recourse to it at all. But about native languages, yeah, it's I wish I could learn how to speak Mandarin, but it's too difficult. I've tried to say a couple things, and it's like one of the hardest things I've ever done with my mouth. That did not come out good. Jesus Christ.
Not at all.
But Spanish.
No, Spanish is really.
Spanish, you can roll your R's, and I think it's very like intuitive.
No, I'm terrible. I can't even roll my R's, but I can
Dude,
what they're saying.
Try speaking Mandarin, dude. It's so freaking hard. Like
No, I don't even.
Darius, what language do Persians speak?
Racist.
Farsi?
Yeah, Farsi.
Is it Farsi?
Yeah, Farsi.
Can you speak any?
That's
does
also
your dad speak Farsi?
Yeah, but he's got like an American accent, Farsi. I guess he gets made fun of. He used to get made fun of when he'd go to Iran before everything kind of went sideways. So
can you speak it at all?
No, he didn't teach me, and I didn't care to learn.
Oh, well, that's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I regret it.
That ends that conversation.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because my mom's dad was Italian, fluent in Italian, but he was just generally a dick. So he did not teach her, and she couldn't teach us. But it's like, dude, it's a missed opportunity. I could have been fluent in the language, and then with Italian, you can be kind of understand Spanish, and like you kind of like
Are you teaching your kids Chinese or no?
They understand Chinese, but they can't really speak it yet. A little bit, but it's unless we'll have to get them in some kind of school to like learn how to like write it, because even Joy doesn't know how to write it. She has kind of more of a child's vocabulary,
right? Talking at home at the dinner table, or whatever, right?
But I think it's huge. And when we send them to school, like they're going to teach them Spanish, and I'm kind of like, Dolph Bavaria said
It's
Persian
hit or
women are
miss.
hot.
It's hit or miss.
Are
It's
they
hit
hot?
or miss.
It's good to learn though.
They're
'Cause everybody speaks
extremes.
Spanish here.
Tim,
Yeah.
because you can't see the comments, Tim. Somebody said Persian. Somebody said Dolph Bavaria said Persian women are hot.
It's
And
hit or
he
miss.
spelled it with a W, so you got to get the "aw" in there.
It's hit or miss. Just at least all Persian
Wait,
men
what is
are
it? Is it
not
hit or
good-looking,
miss?
though.
It's hit or miss.
Persian
So-
women.
Did you ever
They can. They're very pretty. Yeah.
pre-marriage? Did you ever date
Pre-marriage.
another Persian woman, Darius?
First or second marriage?
Well, either one.
Oh, yeah. See, unibrows. See, that's what I'm saying. They can straight across, bro. I can rep a unibrow too. That's why I see Anthony Davis on the Lakers. I'm like, bro, trim that shit. Like, come on. Anyway, no, I didn't. Like doesn't have to go with like, Scott. This is America.
Did you go?
I don't have to just mate with my own people. Okay. But no, I dated a Turkish girl.
Oh, how was that? Because I have a Turkish friend.
It was
Male.
cool, but ironically, no, she's chill. The weirdest thing is her best friend was Armenian, so once a year, the anniversary of the believed genocide, right, would happen, and they'd fucking hate each other for one day a year, and they'd fight
Really?
over the Armenian.
Honestly?
Yeah, like legit, like to their core.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, that's very odd. Why do you guys hang out?
That must have been generated by their families more so than them individually, right?
Oh, I feel like that's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Past crap that you're bringing. Because as a kid, I mean, if you're young, like, what experience do you have? Like, what have you?
Right. Like, I don't mean to
Actually-
be coarse, but like, how do you know about a tragic human event, like, without someone telling you about it, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
And instilling a viewpoint about it.
correct. So,
Yeah. Because I had that opinion when I was doing a report. It was funny about the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, and they were about the terrorist attacks that they were doing against the UK because they had, still had their like base. And it was weird because at the time, you're so stupid when you're in your 20s and like late teens. You just don't realize it till you get older. But like I had a sense of like, oh, well, yeah, because I'm Irish. I have, I can share that. I would be pissed too. But then you're like, in hindsight, you're like, yeah, bombing buildings, and like possibly hurting innocent people. That's not really a good way to go.
It's tough.
Because you'll judge stuff later in other countries going on. You pick a side. You say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." But when you're invested in it,
in your 20s and your teens, and by the time you know it's too late, you've already.
You can be influenced, yeah, just on group think. You're part of something, like whether you're Irish or
Look
Italian
at the
or Persian.
foundation of the United States, bro. It was basically a bunch of dudes that came over that weren't stoked on where they came from, and they chose to openly disobey where they came from. And there was a big fucking ocean, so it was hard for them to enforce it, right?
Mhm.
I mean, then they ran around and fucking killed and raped and did all this fucked up shit. But we don't talk about that here. That's only talked about other places, right?
Yeah.
So
on that note,
yeah, guys, it was good. I'm glad. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you caught this live or you caught it later,
God bless.
Yeah, that was an uplifting
USA.
conversation. If you guys want to email us, if you want to see anything covered, discussed, we try to do these dad panels every so often where we get on live and we discuss what's going on, what's happening in our lives. Dads, you guys can come in and chat, let us know current events, paranormal shit. We get into that a lot. We've been covering that. We have some more interviews coming up that discusses consciousness and everything else. Tim's on the phone right now with our next interview guest at midnight. But thank you, everybody, for watching.
After hours.
Yeah, you can email
after hours phone call.
Email us podcast@dadsdoomsdayguide.com. Thank you, Darius, for coming on. Thank you, Tim. And
you would disappear completely.
Bye, guys.